Here comes the money. Here comes the money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
You know, I usually have something clever to say right now, Adam, but it's episode 56 of the DeathPiles and Taxes show, and that's all I really got to say right now for the intro. How you doing, my friend?
That's a first. You don't have much to say.
Well, just with the introduction, I mean, I brought you over another Do Zero.
Do Zero sugar-free.
It feels like this week has just went by in a blink of an eye for me, so I don't know how you're doing, but
It's like January 22nd? Holy hell.
the year's about over. We got people drag racing up and down the historic main street here of the Payson, Utah.
It's a beautiful area, great time of year.
But
It's tax time.
you're the only one that's happy about taxes
Do you know why?
because you get paid.
Exactly.
So you make money. Well, let me put it this way. You and the people at work who can't wait to get their W-2s fast enough and print them off themselves because they can't wait for them to come in the mail because they get a refund and they know they're getting a refund are the only people happy about tax
I've
time.
already had like 10 people contact me. When can you do my taxes? I says, well, the IRS won't let me send them in until the 27th, and you've got a gajillion kids, plus you get earned income credit, so those are the most scrutinized tax returns, which means they won't release those funds until mid to late February.
There's always that get-rich-quick type schemey thing where it's like, hey, we'll just do your taxes for you, but here's $300 and we'll just take care of the rest. Just sign it over right here.
We'll give you a prepaid credit card.
I believe that's
$1,500.
That's subtracting them up, not add them up. Accounting, right?
I thought you were going to start naming names, and we can't name the names of the other big box firms.
Hey, I'm not gonna go back to jail. I will not let that happen, folks. See, as hard as I might try, it won't happen.
Support your local business owners. That's all I'm saying.
Small businesses, that's what you are. If you're selling online,
You are.
you're a small business owner. If Adam starts clicking that pen he's reaching for again, I'm gonna have to hear people saying, "Why does Adam click that?" Well, why do you guys click the pen? And I have to say it's Adam. It's Adam.
My nervous.
And they're like, "Oh, that's okay. If it's Adam, if it's you, you need to stop it."
I can't sit still for as long as we do.
You had something before we started. You said, "Don't let me forget it." So I'm not letting you forget it. What you got?
Well, our marketing team here at DeathPiles and Taxes have been doing their job. Ooh. But see, that pop on the dude just doesn't do it like it can.
That tastes good.
And I've already had 3 today, so I better hold off.
Wow.
I
never thought Adam would turn down a drinky winky.
I tried to wait, but I'm working on some things. So anyways, the marketing team here at DeathPiles and Taxes is doing some amazing things. You are hitting the national, people are listening.
Did you just say the marketing team and then just stop and say you to me directly?
Well, you head the marketing team.
I am the marketing team.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, besides what you're doing with the LinkedIn, we all have our part. Adam takes care of most of the Facebook and the LinkedIn and the office and this kind of stuff. I take care of the Facebook group, so to speak, and whatever else
the
I do.
tweet machines, the Insta,
The tweet, the Instagram, but I've been slacking. So where's this headed? I'm a little nervous.
or the gram, as some people refer to. I just learned that from
Oh,
somebody.
is that the
They
gram?
call it the gram.
I'm not on the TikTok yet.
Hey, you will one day.
I'm gonna pass that on to you.
Hey, Ryan's doing some amazing things with our wheelchair company there on the
I'll
TikTok.
tell Ryan Yell's side project for him when he's slow.
Ryan's got enough on his plate, so.
It doesn't pay well, but it'll make him feel warm and fuzzy inside.
We are a podcast about death piles and taxes, selling on eBay, getting rid of some products. We make it fun, we make it light. We talk about anything from MacGyver to Willy Wonka, and apparently Alex Trebek has been listening to our show.
What? Now rewind this.
I'm telling you, we talk about a lot of things. There are some very specific things that we talk about that the Jeopardy show, Jeopardy, the greatest of all time, it just aired. They took 3 very specific items that we talk about and used them in the form of questions on their show.
Well, I watched the greatest of all time on Jeopardy because I like that Ken Jennings, but it was moving too fast for me to comprehend whatever you're saying right now.
Obviously, you missed it.
Obviously.
There were 2 very specific references to the Willy Wonka show.
Okay.
Very exclusive, very specific. We talk about Grandpa Joe. In fact, that's what reminded me. I've got my cabbage sitting in the refrigerator. I'm going to eat that here tonight.
You are a cabbage eater.
So we had 2 specific questions about Willy Wonka, things that were said in the movie.
Was it under the category of like biggest scumbag of all time, biggest movie villain, probably biggest welfare fraud ever? I don't remember those categories. Grandpa Joe. What is Grandpa Joe? Not throwing you off. I'm just saying Grandpa Joe was a scumbag. That's one of our most downloaded episodes ever.
Which I agree, so I think they downloaded that. But then there was also the term, and Ken Jennings was the one that answered it. There was some specific terms about younger people referring to older people using this connotation. And Ken says, I can't believe I get to say it. What is okay boomer, Alex?
Oh, it's just popular culture.
What? But I'm saying we talk about these things on the DeathPiles.
Yeah, did you hear the music last week?
Which one?
On the end of the show.
Did not hear it yet.
You haven't even listened to last week's show?
I'm about 20 minutes left in the show.
Wow. Well, you're late to the party.
Well, I've been having some computer issues.
I had a youngin call me up and say, how do you even know that song existed? That's how hip I am. I said, because I'm hip. Some weeks it's not hip. Some weeks I'm just proving we can be hip. We're trying to take care of everyone. We're a big tent. If you're a reseller or want to be a reseller, hopefully this is your home.
Okay, boomer.
You're older than me.
Did I use the terminology right?
No, you have to be saying that to a boomer is a baby boomer. So like your mom.
So like Denny?
Or my dad, yes.
Okay.
So if they're saying something to you and it's just ridiculous or like, the problem with millennials is they'll never get out of the basement. You kids don't know what it's like to work wherever. That's where you would say,
okay, boomer.
Okay, boomer. And then yeah, that's how that works.
Okay, well, I appreciate your help.
Even though you live like you're a boomer, you're not there.
Whoa. Well, let's get into some nuts and bolts of making me money, saving me money.
My computer had some problems all week. The kid wouldn't come over and fix up the internet cords.
Like
www.
my motherboard died, power source.
Well, if you want to keep clicking on all them ads to get rich from Nigerian princes and stuff, you'd be all right. I keep telling you those are
It
scams.
has nothing to. The thing, they just don't make things the way they used to.
Okay, boomer. See right there. That's how it's done.
No, this on my LinkedIn thing, and we're going to get into it. Carhartts. If you have Carhartts, that's a great item to sell. This lady made a comment about how great Carhartts are, and I says, I agree with you. I've had the same one for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
I've had this computer for 3 years and it's breaking.
The old gray mare just ain't what she used to
Like
be.
3 years and like the stupid motherboard and.
Well, they're always on. You're always using it. You're probably. You get your money's worth out of them.
I don't know. It's just, they just don't make them like they used to.
Well, this past weekend, do you know where I was? What I was doing?
Knowing you, were you in Kansas City? Were you hanging out with Brother Andy?
No, it wasn't. I did watch that. We had a fun time. We had all the Super Bowl set. So I'll throw this in here before I get to my fun fact number 1 of the day. If you have any items that are San Francisco 49er or Kansas City Chief related, if you have any cards, I know we talked a lot about cards. I guess this Pat McHolmes. I hear from all these people that he's going to be a good little ball player. You're putting it out everywhere.
I heard that Pat Mahomes, he's going to be a pretty good ball player.
If you go back, I think Mike Painter said that in one of our. I don't know what we've put up and what we haven't on the Husky section. I'm so confused. Last week I had it all edited and ready to go, and then I re-listened and said, "Oh, we had to put up the camouflage one." So
yeah.
I had to switch and do a whole new everything on that. So, anyways, if you have Patrick Mahomes, if you have what's the 49ers quarterback name? It's like Jimmy Garoppolo. Is that it?
That's the one.
Any of his rookie cards, which would go back to his time with the Patriots.
Correct.
Richard Sherman, some of the bigger names, Kelsey.
I believe he's an Eastern Illinois Panther.
Look at you go.
I believe.
So if you have any of these items, if you have the old jackets, the old starter jackets, which somebody here has.
I have one downstairs, and during the break, I will be listing.
You better get on Sellhound and get that thing up, because right now's the time to do it.
Sellhound, look out.
The Kansas City Chiefs haven't been in the Super Bowl for 50 years, so if you got any of those type of items that have anything to do with that, this is your week. Because, we're a couple weeks out from the big game. I don't want to get sued for saying Super Bowl, so I won't say Super Bowl. So, that being said, this week, I wish I used my close personal friend. I went and saw Mick Foley.
Oh, that's right. You were hanging with Mick.
So if you ever have a chance, Mick Foley, who I talk a lot of professional wrestling on this podcast, no doubt about that. But he's a former professional wrestler. He's retired, but he's just a really good guy. Does a lot of charity work and that kind of thing. He donates money, time, all that kind of stuff to a lot of different organizations. You can look it up if you want, but he does like a stand-up comedy tour, but he doesn't really do stand-up jokey jokes. He just kind of tells stories from, traveling the nation and wrestling and what have you. And good guy, good time had by all. The funny thing is, on the way to the show, I have a ka-ching go off, right? And I'm like, oh, that's a nice, $20 bill right there. It was a wrestling card of Mick Foley had sold.
Shut the front door.
Well, last night, I'm getting ready to pack up everything. Another cha-ching comes, another $15 from a Mick Foley card. So I paid $25 a ticket for me and my wife to go and see his show. And as of, the day of the show till now, I'm 35, I'm almost covered the whole cost.
And as your accountant, I hope that you put that in there as a research expense.
You know what?
And here's the thing, people are going to be like, well, you can't do that. That's an entertainment. Absolutely not. With this specific item, Derek is going there to meet somebody, to do things that this is his career. I went very specific and read through some tax law here the last 3 weeks, and I know you can't imagine that.
Sounds like a good time.
I stay up late at night reading tax law.
You remember back to when we said the accountants got all the women? This is why. This is why they're lined up at the doors. There's new tax code. Adam's sitting there like, no, ladies, I got to read it first, and I'm a happily married man, so you just go wait.
So
listen to the podcast.
Specifically about attending sporting events, and if you're taking people to sporting events, that kind of an expense is not allowed as much as it used to be. Okay, entertainment is no longer an expense. But if you were attending that sporting event as a journalist, and that was a part of your job, then that expense would be allowed, as well as you going and checking out your Mick Foley. That is absolutely 100% a business expense.
So say a friend, let's just call him Eric for lack of a confusion part, wanted to go to a football game. Let's say Eric sells football merchandise. At the stadium, he's picking up items to sell. Can he write off his trip to the baseball, football, basketball world if you're buying things from there, kind of like we did with Apple? They're specifically for reselling that you can only get at that location per se.
That is an excellent question. And here's how the determining factor would kind of look into it. Is like we talked about at eBay, like, what is your real purpose for going there? And are you making any money?
Well, let's say with Mick Foley, for example, because I was just trying to get off the path a little bit because I know I'm pretty niche specific and a lot of people wouldn't relate to. Let's say I'm going to Mick Foley. He has items. I've resold autographed shirts, autographed everything's, right? So
Absolutely.
He has his merch table. You can buy every item on there for $40 or whatever. I get me a bundle like with the sole purpose of I'm going to sell all of this stuff as a reseller. I'm going to be entertained, no doubt about it. I'm going to the event, but while I'm there, I know specifically I'm picking up these items to resell, not to take home, not to hold on to for 20 years and then my kids can sell it. But I'm going knowing I can only get this item at this location. It so happens that this event is going on. I'm going to stay for both. Where's the rub in that?
Again, you're kind of getting in that gray area, and that is if that's your purpose and that's what you're there for. And the big thing is, are you making any money? Like, you can't say, well, I'm going to go tour the world and see my buddies U2 and write off all my expenses and lose $5,000 a year. Then that ain't going to fly. But if you're selling $30,000 and $40,000 of merchandise, and part of that is, well, I had to pay $50 to go in to source some of my merchandise, just like, some of these outdoor festivals you have to pay to get into, and there are some admission charges to get in, then absolutely. So it all depends on your scale.
Okay.
Are you selling? Then yes. And if you're really going there, just make some notes. But the reality of, unless you're really doing this in a large volume, the IRS coming in and saying, well, Derek, I see you put $7,300 on travel expenses. What was this item? You went and saw McFoley. That don't count. The chances of that happening are very, very, very minimal.
So let's say that, you two, let's say it's their farewell tour, or somebody like that.
Okay.
And I think to myself, like Kiss, for example, this summer, they're still on their farewell tour, whatever. I think, well, I'm going to go buy $500 worth of Kiss t-shirts and hoodies or whatever because I know it's going to be their final tour. But I'm also going to go to the concert, so I'm only going one stop. I am buying tickets for a couple $100 or whatever. But I'm buying hundreds of dollars of merchandise with the idea of, this is it, they're going to give me a big box, I'm going to go home and sell it because I know something like that. Not necessarily getting in the Grateful Dead van and touring around, to catch every show, but just one big pop.
You and Bill Walton hanging out?
Yeah.
He'd be $1, Bill.
I think he smoked his last bill. I don't know.
There's no I don't know about that. So yes, exactly. If that's your onus, if that's your type of business, then yes, I would tell you as your accountant, those would be one of the items.
Just some things that popped up, right?
You're always looking. You're looking for that edge, and again, it's make money, and then we can have that discussion.
Okay, I mean, just some different ideas because people hear me and they're like, "Oh, Derek's going to see a professional wrestler talk for a little bit." Give a tour. It doesn't relate too well because not a lot of people are into that. So I was just trying to make that a little more relatable.
We don't want to bring anybody or encourage them to become the jester on eBay of selling wrestling items because there is no way to dethrone the king of wrestling memorabilia.
Well, the problem is people hear things and they think, okay, wrestling memorabilia, I can do that, and they go and buy some new T-shirt from Walmart and think they can get $40. It's not. I mean, it's just if you don't know, it's kind of hard to catch up a little bit. So it's like anything. If it's not your niche, don't just do it because you hear Derek talking about it. I mean, if you happen to find a thing at a yard sale or a thrift store, look it up, look at the comps. But it might be a quick way to being out of business if you don't know what you're doing. Just like me trying to sell, I don't know, mini skirts or something. It's just purses. I mean, I might have a trunk full of them. So
I want to bring something up because
okay,
you made me some money this week.
I always do. What I do this time?
You made me some money with your tips, your insight to failing, but learning how to fail standing up.
Well, do go on. Color me intrigued.
We talked about this in November, December. We talked about sourcing, about finding that Christmas item. We bought a few and they didn't sell. But you know what we were able to do? We kept that receipt. We fell in that window of return time.
The 90-day return, huh?
You're welcome, Walmart. Took it back and got a $150 and back on the card.
You went back with the old cart and said, I don't need to explain this to you. I just want to return all this.
Walk of shame, and I didn't care. They don't ask.
They're just looking at you like, why do you got 20 of this item? And you're like, don't.
I mean, they were 100% like nothing happened. The worst thing is when I worked at a retail store, people, like I worked at an Ace Hardware, people would obviously, like the worst thing was they'd have a water heater specific wrench that you had to have to change out some things in your water heater. They get it, they bring it back and say, well, I didn't do anything with it. I'm like, dude, the friggin' water and rust still on it. Like, you obviously used it.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem with Walmart and even Amazon taking anything and everything back. It kind of puts people that own their own kind of businesses or even us as resellers in, hey, I want to send this back. And it's been open, it's been like, look through, all the good stuff's been taken or it's been used and returned. And you're sitting here like, well, what am I supposed to do with it? And they're so conditioned to, oh, you just take back everything. That's how the world works now. That I think that's going to be, you know how you're always, the Venmo's going to, get taxed guy. You're predicting that. I'm predicting the free returns for no reason. It's going to get a lot more limited in the next 5 to 10 years with Amazon and eBay because there's so much abuse of that system.
I was interesting because I was listening to some other information, and they talked about their increase in returns. Like the percentages of returns has like tripled, quadrupled for most of these people because, again, it's that same thing we talked about. What Eric used to do. He'd go to Best Buy. He'd go to Toys R Us. He'd find the toy. he'd test it out, he'd look at the TV, and then he'd go home and order it on Amazon. Now that's become so easy to where they can find a product, bring it home, look at it, realize, that's not what we want, we're sending it back.
Oh yeah, there's countless cases, and this is why a lot of people don't want to resell clothing, is because it doesn't happen. It's not happened really to me a whole lot, but I've heard of people that will just buy 5 or 6 different items, right? Get it home, try it on, see what fits. Kids are hard; they're always outgrowing things. See what looks good, what fits well, and then send back the other, 6 items. You only keep a couple or whatever. So
because again, like you can't try it on, and like you just don't know until you get it.
So that's kind of the problem when eBay was like pushing free returns and all this and that. Where I've had more returns, but not to the point where I'm not feeling scammed or abused yet. So
it's just you got to learn. It's just part of
it's part of the cost of doing business a little bit. But so following up a few weeks ago with a friend, I almost called his legit name out, Briefcase. I almost got a guy fired right there, folks. You all know I don't edit these out no more, so I'm not going to go back and do half the edits I say I'm going to do, so I would have just gotten fired. But he gave us a New Year, new store, right? So I kind of wanted to follow up with that. We talked about setting up a store. I got a DeathPile now. We talked a little shipping and stuff. I want to follow up with that with pictures. Do they matter?
Oh, wow.
A lot of people just kind of assume that, I don't know what they assume. They're in a dark room, or, you got your camera phone, but it's kind of blurry or whatever, and they'll just take a picture and put it up there, and I guess think it's going to sell. They got clutter in the background. If you go and look for things, you can see things that are professionally photoed, and you can see things that look like they're in the back of some guy's trunk with, all of his McDonald's, McGriddles wrappers back there rattling around in the picture, or reflections in the mirror of him half dressed and things like, just weird things, man. So with your pictures, you don't have to. So here's the problem: people get hung up on it. They have to be a perfectionist. It has to be a perfect photo, and a lot of people are trying to get into eBay and stuff, but they'll list one thing a day because they'll take several pictures, but they want them to look like they're right out of a catalog. Realistically, that doesn't have to happen. That's not going to happen. A lot of us have phones, and pretty much every cell phone right now has a camera with it, and those cameras are a lot better now than they were even 5 to 7 years ago. It's basically better than most digital cameras even are, as far as convenience goes. So what I do is I'll just set up my little shipping station. I got me a little desk,
which is a good work area for you.
Good little work area. We know, we've talked about this, Google, if you want to show up on Google, you need a white background. It's pretty much pure white background as you can find. However, they're coming out with software that's going to automatically do that for you with eBay. So your first page, you want that to be the best picture you can take. So you're going to want to show as much detail as you can, reduce as much glare as you can. A lot of people use these little light boxes. Have you ever heard of those, Adam?
I have heard of light. I tried getting one, but it was too small.
Yeah, they come in smaller sizes depending on what you're selling. It might help you or might not. I have, some lights that I set up. I'm like, when you went to the mall in the 90s and got your pictures taken, Chemo's camera shop. Basically, I have me a little studio. I put up my lights. I try to get everything so the item, you can see what you're looking at. I have a little, thing that I can tip things up and down so I can get good angles. But eBay allows you to take up to 12 photos. And some things probably don't need 12 photos, but you definitely need more than 1 or 2. And let me tell you, I got something that I bought this week off eBay, and it was some old wrestling cards, and I thought I'd hit the mother load. I bought this item. It said it was new. I kind of had an Adam Beasley and a Michael Painter pull on me to where this was a new pack of cards from the 1980s. And I thought, okay, and this was a harder edition to find.
Yes.
The guy had 2 pictures. One was straight on and one was from the back. So it said new, so I get there, well, the wrapping, the paper on the top had been cut or something. You know how they're shrink wrapped.
Oh, yeah.
And the cardboard, just not in good condition, so I had to say, hey, I'm returning these because you didn't disclose that it was opened here, and this pretty much takes down any worth with the product because you only took 2 pictures. So I took several pictures to send it back to him. So when you're taking pictures of your item, show as much as you can of that item. There's the old cliche that goes, when you're taking pictures, take it as if there's no description. so that people won't have to read the description.
Yep.
And it always goes, and in your description, take it as if, or write it as if there's no pictures. I slack there, but I do try to take good quality pictures.
So I got bamboozled. This is what Derek's talking about. I bought some Gary V cards. I thought they were new. They were not new. Well, they were new, but somebody already opened them. And I'm going to say, thanks a lot, Quality First Items, because I emailed them back and I did everything, and unfortunately, I let it slide. I didn't file a complaint. I didn't do anything. So it is my fault, but I'm just going to say, thanks again, bud.
Hey pal, I got an idea for you. I'm gonna tell you about this in a minute.
Okay.
I got an idea how we're gonna get your money back. Stella's gonna get her groove back.
Well, I don't want to send my cards back now. I just wanted to complain. I wanted my new one. I wanted the joy of being able to unwrap, hoping that I had the golden ticket.
Well, I got an idea for you, and it might parlay into you getting some new cards.
Oh, I love it.
But anyway, let me just send this home real
Oh,
fast.
hit it hard.
Your pictures matter.
They do.
You want to take at least 4 to show up better in searches, but you have up till 12. If they have any flaws in your item, don't be afraid to show them, because then when somebody gets it and it's like, oh, this cardboard or the cellophane was cut, but I saw that in the picture, I won't mind if I know what I'm buying, but because that wasn't shown or listed, I probably paid too much and it wasn't disclosed, so I'm returning the item. I think a lot of people get returns because they don't disclose things and they try to kind of hide things or this, that, or the other, if you will.
It's all in the pictures. Very descriptive, like you're saying. Don't try to hide anything, and especially when you're like selling an item with an issue as a flaw, like it's okay.
Yeah, as long as you show it.
Exactly, as long as you show it and detail it, not when they send it back saying, well, you didn't tell me, like, dude, it says right there in the description. Right there, I told you that this is what the flaw was.
I mean, think if you're buying a car, right? You go out looking for a used car, you know there's going to be some flaws in it.
Absolutely.
If you leave the dealership and there's a big dent on top of the car you didn't see, you're going to come back and say, hey, you didn't disclose, you didn't show me this, or a house, or, I mean, these are major things, but if they tell you ahead of time, okay, you know, maybe I'll talk him down a couple $100 on this car, because it's got a big ding here. Things like that. Same with your items. But pictures matter. Don't take them like in a dungeon room, or at the back of your car, or with like, I mean, there's some weird ones out there. If you just get bored someday, go, you could probably Google, I was going to say Goofle. You could Google just strange eBay photos, or just go look at things. And some people, I mean, you'll see cat hair, cats in the background, ashtrays, yesterday's pizza. Just find you a nice clean place and take your pictures and show what you got. But the quality of photo that you take does matter. If it's blurry, delete it, take it again. If you got some weird stuff going on, find a better spot.
Yep.
Those kind of things are going to help you boost sales. I wanted to put that to go hand in hand with our, this year we're going to try to maybe bring some other things home, educate a few things as far as what's going on with New Year, New Store.
So apparently I'm sitting on a $100 bill downstairs.
Oh, easy. I've told you that for a while.
Well, you wait till it's hot. We just pulled up my San Francisco 49er jacket, and this is the sold. Like I said, listing don't really matter, and especially when you want it hot till it trots. These are just some of the solds, and it's $98.50 for the same exact jacket, and these are solds, and they're all hopping today. These are all 2 days.
See, you're lucky I come in here to do the podcast. I just make you money.
You always
I remind you of money that you got. Yeah, $100 bill just sitting in that basement, and it's an old jacket that you used to wear.
It is the old jacket.
It's one of the 90s starter pullover jackets for those listening.
Yes.
A lot of 90s kids will remember these.
So if anyone's listening and they feel like they need some nostalgia, I'm past my nostalgia. We don't like playing favorites, but I want brother Andy to win.
I'm going for the Kansas City, but a lot of people I talk to are all 49ers. I still have a bad taste in my mouth from when we visited that stadium, about a couple months ago. I just can't get over the pain and torture and torment that we had to suffer in that San Francisco 49er stadium.
It's a nice stadium, but there's nothing around it.
Oh, it was beautiful clear up till the game kicked off.
Yeah,
and then it turned into not so beautiful.
But let's be honest. I mean, that Uber ride to the hot pot place we took, that was an amazing Uber ride.
Well, it was, but I mean, I'm not a guy that flies starships and rockets around in space, so, it was long good Uber ride. We had a good trip. It just was kind of
It was tainted.
it was just when your team, not so much that they lose, but when they just, just get blown out. And Oregon just came to play and pretty much just sat there and bashed our brains in for, 50 minutes of the game at least?
Yes.
And then we had to leave in a rainstorm, and we walked for miles because we were just disheveled and didn't know what to do.
Walk of shame.
And we ended up at a dead end, and there was in a sketchy, maybe a stabbier part of town. So then I had to summons an Uber, and this guy was probably flying high on cocaine or something, but allegedly, I guess, if he's listening. I don't know if he was one of our friends we made. But then we had a good dinner, and we got over it, but life goes on.
We did, so.
Well, Adam, I don't know. What you got?
We've had a great time, good things. I'm looking forward to the second half of the show. I gotta grab some of that cabbage, man.
No, go cabbage up, cabbage
I'll come in
power.
with some high energy.
We are sports fans. We believe. We are all in. We deserve to see our team in the biggest playoff and championship games, but tickets are gone or too expensive. We're Lunatics, the #1 ticket site for fans to reserve playoff or championship tickets for any team in any game. Hold or resell your reservations all year long. When your team makes the game, you get the tickets. Want regular season tickets? Buy any tickets with no fees and we'll give you 20% back to reserve any postseason tickets you want. Any other ticket sites offer you that? No chance. Be there and tell the story forever. Lunatics.com.
Visible Mobile, they can help you save the money, but you're not losing the quality.
It's all about good service and quality.
Go over to visiblemobile.com. They always got some new promotion going. Right now they're giving you a tablet if you sign up.
Ooh.
Just every day they're giving you something bigger and better.
Yeah, we're all going to have a cell phone. I mean, you're sourcing. You need some form of communication, and Visible Mobile is a great option for you. What do they do, Derek?
Well, first off, right now it's $40 all in, but they're saying $25 to try them out. It's unlimited everything. It's Verizon coverage, so it's the best coverage out there. You get a mobile hotspot, just everything, man. They give DeathPiles and Taxes listeners $20 off, so if you're to go in and use our promo code and get the new $25 to start, Adam, I'm not a mathematician, but what is $20 off of $25?
That's not a lot to have to pay every month.
That's $5 to give them a try. You owe it to yourself.
That's right. That's all you got to do. So, what is that promo code for us, buddy?
Everybody's favorite. Now, this will be in the show notes. I have to explain that because it's not very user friendly. I understand that.
Well, they're going to get us a better code one day, but right now, hit me with it.
BVWBQ.
That's not that hard.
It's not that hard. Put that in the promo code and we'll save you $20 off your initial plus whatever else they're going to give you. VisibleMobile.com.
Go to it and you can tell us thank you later. Well, it's taxes of DeathPiles and Taxes. It is that time of year. We're going to have to do something. Uncle Sam wants his money.
Who doesn't want their money?
Well, he's got a lot of it, but we all got to put it in the system. That's the country we live in. So, need to file your taxes. Got questions? You want to know more because you're a reseller? It is a little more difficult than it is, especially if it's your first year. You're getting into it. You're going to get these 1099Ks. You get information that you don't know what to do with, and we don't want you to pay any more than you have to. So reach out to us here at Adam Up Accounting. You can go to our website. You can check us out on social media. We'd love to help you out. Like I said, we know the resale game. We're here to make sure that you pay your fair share, but don't go back to jail.
Hot. Man, we're back. Well, you've been gone gallivanting about. I've been shopping on eBay, my friend.
Did you buy a San Francisco 49er starter
I'm buying so much stuff. If you're selling stuff on eBay right now, you've probably sold something to me. I'm getting into some weird, like, copper. Here's I'm crazy.
Whoa.
Let's throw that out there with I'm crazy. But did you know that copper kills all bacteria?
We've already talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah, but I'm buying it now. Now I'm like, instead of buying hand sanitizer, I'm going to have me a copper bar, and I'm just going to, like, wipe myself down with it, you know?
we're never going to be able to make it through the airport when you do stuff like
I mean,
that.
it's probably true.
We will be driving to eBay Open, and they will be stopping you at the Mandalay Bay saying, "Excuse me, sir, is that a copper pipe in your pocket?"
I'm just doing my research. Now, I'm not buying fittings or tubings and things. Speaking of that, I do need to get into something here in a second that might be a little controversial, but we need to bring it up for the second half of the show. The first half was it was good information, but we didn't bring it with the pizzazz that we usually have.
What do you mean? Ken Jennings, Alex Trebek?
Yeah, okay, but I mean, people
Okay,
are listening to this show so they can sleep better at nights. I need them to be waking up
they didn't
laughing.
make any money. I'm just
Giving them the giggles.
I'm just trying to let them know the relevancy that our marketing team brings.
I talk a lot of Mick Foley stuff. That's only for like 5 people. So, anyways, I'm looking into this kind of buying stuff all over the internet, which is fine. Copper, which I don't know if it's real or not. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it.
Might as well, man.
Well, I'm always getting sick and getting these weird viruses and sick for like 2 weeks. You've heard me on this podcast. There's been a few times where it's like,
this is Derek.
yeah, and
smoking menthols and drinking purple drink.
and the problem, I'm drinking my things, like my water and stuff. I'm trying to eat somewhat healthy. That could always be argued. I work in a place that makes supplements and vitamins, so I get all those I can handle. I drink my juices. I'm taking my, I'm on those things. I'm taking all this stuff that you spray up the nose to keep yourself. Eucalyptus type products and stuff like that. Sorry, I didn't mean that I was doing cocaine or anything, which would probably make me feel better. All this emergency, all this kind of stuff. It's just not doing the trick for me. So I'm like, maybe it's copper.
So you're gonna.
I wash my hands. I wash it with soap. I do the whole alphabet, and it's just I still get sick.
So Jake in Oklahoma, I know you're always looking. What's the next bolo? Apparently it's copper, and Derek will be your buyer.
So if you're selling copper right now, it's a good time to sell to a guy like me. I haven't committed to the one that you stick up your nose when you're feeling sick yet. That supposedly kills all the bacteria up there, because back there is where all the bacteria form. But I am going to try this one that you rub your hands and stuff on it.
So if you get real creative in your marketing and can show a video or picture of you shoving this thing up your nose and then feeling amazing, Derek will buy.
I'm that sucker. So my favorite thing is I get, how you get these specific ads to whatever you're talking about or looking.
Oh yeah.
I've said this before, but when I'm selling on eBay, I'm all over the place. When I'm researching, I'm looking everywhere from women's clothing to like copper that you stick up your nose to copper that maybe I could get me some copper tubing and do all that. So they're just like, I don't know what this person. You get all these weird things like, what is this person up to? I mean, I'm probably on a lot of federal watch lists, to be honest with you.
Well, now those are the things that you're buying. I think. Guess what I sold?
Maybe I'll go downstairs and see what you got for selling.
One of my unique things just sold. I just got money on it.
What happened?
It was something I found. I think I found it at DI or Savers. It was a Windows 95 edition.
People buy this
No,
stuff.
just sold it. Just
Awesome.
sold it. Just got it. I sold what Nickelodeon Raptor shirt.
Oh, I got a few of them. I picked up at the NPS store.
And did you sell it?
Not yet.
Mine sold.
Good for you. A lot of people say, well, who would buy this kind of thing? I know we say we don't care, but let me just say, here's some ideas for you. Windows 95. If you're doing a TV show or a movie, put that on the desk. It looks relevant. And some people are just into collecting older, operating systems for all sorts of computers. And Windows 95 is one of those things. So good for you, man.
Well, I gotta bring something up.
Do it.
Okay? We gotta bring something up tax related. That we're hitting tax. We're hitting DeathPiles. We're hitting several things right now. It's that time of the year, so we're gonna get in some specific tax things. But you showed this to me just here, and I got a chuckle. I mean, I just got a chuckle. If you're selling online anything, you have a partner.
Well, I mean, is it a silent partner, or is it like maybe there's single people out there that don't have a partner? You're making them feel bad.
It all depends on how you're going to treat said partner.
Who's this partner, Adam?
Are you opening the door for your partner? Are you stiffing them when you go out to eat? Or are you making them pay? Is it Dutch?
They call us the Dutch boys for a reason.
That partner is the IRS, and you better dang well get to know who the IRS is. Somebody, not going to name a name, but they says, I noticed that eBay is charging tax. Does it mean I do not have to pay taxes if I make over 10,000?
What?
Apparently,
I don't have to pay it if it makes over 10,000?
they think because eBay is now charging taxes that they don't have to pay taxes if they make more than 10,000 transactions, is my guess.
That's a weird thing. It should be like, I can see if they said less than, or, there's that.
There's a language barrier.
What? Oh, okay. I know when you're growing up and you get your first job or your kid, there is like couple $100 or something?
Yes. There's
But-
that shell shock for some. No. The taxes that the eBay is taking out, and again, it's limited transactions, limited states, nexus issues. We went into this a few episodes ago, but they're referring to sales tax. And just because the IRS or the state is pulling out sales tax, you need to know, but you need to absolutely know what kind of taxes that they're referring to and what your responsibilities are.
And if you're confused about that, go and listen to our bonus episode from eBay headquarters. It's just barely up at this point. So
Yes, so there is a big difference between sales tax and income tax.
well, I mean, yeah, I could see maybe if it's a not your first language, trying to figure it out. Different countries do things different ways, but as long as you're reselling or working, I mean, we say at the end of the podcast, like, you're going to be paying taxes. And now that they're charging sales tax, you don't have to collect the sales tax necessarily. They're doing that for you, but you have to be aware of what's going on. And I've seen a lot of people kind of complaining about this or saying, why are they doing this? Hey, listen, for the last 3 or 4 years, eBay has a platform called eBay Main Street where they were trying to get people to petition and contact their, senators, legislatures. Wow, somebody's just honking at me right there. What's going on, stabby part of Payson? Do you hear that?
That guy was sitting at the stop.
I'm in the middle of a tirade and they're honking at people to go through a stop sign.
They were honking and waving because they knew.
It's probably that good for nothing Bruce.
Who's Bruce?
I didn't want to really say his name and get madder at me than we have been.
He's an avid listener.
I know, sorry, Brian. I about said your name there, but I switched it to Bruce so I wouldn't offend you.
Just because you're jealous because
You're his
I'm
favorite.
his
I know.
Like,
You employ his wife. If you weren't his favorite, we'd have some problems. But anyways, eBay Main Street was trying to get people to petition against this, to go and contact people not to do the sales tax, to talk to blah, 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 blah. Long story short, no one did it. Now they're all mad that it happened like this. So the window's kind of opened and it's not going to get
taxes are
closed.
so complex and they're not getting easier. The tax code is not becoming smaller. So make sure it is the end of the year. It's already passed. Get your ducks in a row. Get your items figured out. Yeah.
I got a weird story for you. I know that's going to be hard for you to believe coming from this side of the table.
Is this tax or death pile related? Or-
Kind of.
Okay, I'm gonna get into something
Kind
and you
of.
can tell me after.
Okay, go ahead.
As-
Hold on, though. Those of you that were going to turn off the podcast, wait for this story. Go ahead, Adam. Listen through Adam's story for my story.
My
Go
story's
ahead,
about
Adam.
making money. Like my story is relevant.
My story. Go ahead, Adam.
As you're getting ready for the end of the year, so my question, this is always a hot topic, a hot button item. How do you keep track of your inventory?
Well, you just opened a thing with every reseller has a different way, different thing to do. What I like to do is I have specific locations where I put specific items.
No, not that kind of inventory. Like, how do you keep track of it for tax purposes? I don't care what box you put it in.
Oh, just when I buy stuff. Yeah, I have a credit card that I purchase all my things on. So I go ahead and that goes through my bank. So that's all I just go through after I buy it. Mark it as cost of good or inventory. As far as if I'm taking out things for yard selling or whatever, I'll just keep the transaction from the bank and put money for yard selling. So I hand it over to you. You see that. And that's probably about it. I make sure I put it on my card, or if it's cash, I just document that's what it was for.
And then you kind of have a running list for me so that I know, hey, at the beginning of the year, this is about how much I had, this is about how much I sold, and this is what I have at the end of the year.
here in about 2 months, I go to mad dash to my GoDaddy bookkeeping. And I go through GoDaddy bookkeeping, and I have to add every time I went to the post office, because we drive there, because I want my miles. And I say, okay, let me look at my, we went to we went to the DI, went thrift store that day. How many miles was that round trip? Go ahead, we ate there, we'll throw that one in there. Okay, do this and that. Okay, now print off this document, and the document tells Adam all this stuff.
I do look forward to that Saturday in March because it's always enjoyable. We usually hit a Chinese place.
Usually.
I'm looking forward.
Why do we hit a Chinese place, Adam?
Because I thoroughly enjoy Chinese food.
But who won't let you ever eat Chinese food? They don't listen to the podcast.
I've changed the ways. My wife enjoys going to the Chinese place.
Oh, well, there you go.
I've convinced her.
Oh, never
And
mind.
she even likes the one here in Payson.
I redact my statement.
Oh, well, redact, huh?
I stand corrected.
Somebody's been listening to the impeachment trial.
Well, somebody's got to know what's going on. I've never met half these people. Which, if you meet us at eBay Open, I won't be taking pictures with you because apparently that'll get you in some trouble.
You'll have to redact his face.
I don't know. Never met him. Has that me in the picture? Several times. Don't know. Never met him.
It depends. So that's inventory. That's always an important one. We'll hit it a little harder.
I thought you meant like storing inventory.
No, not storing.
That's where you get, that's a hot button with people. Everyone likes it their way. And they all do it differently.
I'm worried about accounting. That's what I'm worried about. So.
Well, you gotta know where your stuff is. If it sells, and you gotta go. So there's another thing. If it sells and it takes you a half hour to find it, you're losing money. You gotta know where that item is and get it shipped and packaged fast so that you're not wasting your time, because your time is valuable and your time is money.
Time is money. So, all right. So that's when you talked about something, you triggered my brain on something.
I told you I had a hot story, and you're like, slow down, man. I'm like, well, I can't make fun of Brian anymore because now I'm trying to win him back over, so I need to come up with something. And you're like, I'm going to tell something relevant. So I'm buying a lot of things online, like I've said.
Copper.
But I'm always looking to buy things to sell, right? I always look at it on eBay to try and find something that somebody doesn't know what they have. They either just bought it out of a storage unit, or somebody died and they're just trying to get rid of stuff, or the tenant moved out, whatever.
Yeah.
So I found this Andre the Giant wrestling card.
Ooh.
And it was it's original, numbered from like back in the 70s, and it says it's signed. It says all over authentic, real, blah 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 blah, right? And so it was way underpriced. And I thought, this person just doesn't know what they have. And I'm doing a little comparison of looking what Andre the Giant's signature looks like to this. And for those of you that don't know, Andre the Giant was a famous wrestler. He was also in some movies. He's not been with us for probably 20 or so years, but not the most able to get autographed, just because
he's dead.
He's dead one, and English was not his first language. And I don't think, as the Giant goes, he wasn't just happy to be signing his name a lot. I don't know if he could even spell Andre the Giant that well, allegedly. Long story short, I buy this thing. I got 2 of them because they were such a great deal. And I sent the guy a message, and I'm like, hey man, before you send these out, I'm just making sure this is not that you've been scribbling on the back, like this is going to pass, because I'm going to get these authenticated. I just need to make sure that these are authentic signatures before I do this, right? And he sends me back, I guess you didn't read my description very well. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's they're facsimile autographs.
What does that mean?
It means they're forged. So if you want to go ahead and write anybody's autograph and you put facsimile autograph on it, apparently you can sell those. I think it might have to be somebody that's deceased. I'm not sure on all the legalities. So basically, he has this nice couple cards that would have been worth some pretty good money just on their own. But he decided that if he'd go ahead and forge Andre the Giant's name on them, he could sell them on eBay for $10 versus selling the card itself for, multiples of that, or if it was really autographed, would have been. So that was my first signs. These are way underpriced. But I went through and read everything, but somewhere in there he had facsimile, so we canceled that transaction. So.
Well, facsimile that I know are like fax machines, so.
Well, facsimile, so let's say you want to get into business, right? Who are some famous, Johnny Cash, Jim Morrison. Elvis. Well, let's just get some, we'll just get some 8x10s made, and we'll just sit here and sign them all day, and put on there that it's a facsimile autograph, and then, or you get a printer just to print them on there. Maybe it was a copy of how it was, I don't know, but.
And a auto pinned. Where was Andre the Giant born? What country?
He was born in France.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were right when you said a couple years ago. Give me a ballpark. You know about when you were
Probably mid-90s, probably 94.
man, 93.
Okay, I was close.
You were
I was
smart.
close.
This is the games we used to play before the internet.
Yeah, this is thrilling to like 4 people again.
But before, like, you could say it with confidence. He died in 1994, and nobody could
I
say
will argue on it, but yeah, I was pretty close. I mean,
You were spot on.
Adam could be spot on. I'm not Googling this at all. I'm just looking straight across at you.
They used to call him, and one of his ring names was Monster Eiffel Tower.
Oh, there you go. Well, here's the problem. He had the giantism, which you keep growing. And a lot of people can get that corrected now with the surgery. They just take out a gland. But back in the day, he just died.
Did
So
you write this Wikipedia article?
I can't confirm or deny
his
whether I
size
wrote it or whether I've been reading it for weeks trying to find these rare items.
His size was a result of giantism caused by an excess growth hormone. Spot on. No joke.
There you go.
Wow.
Also, a good documentary on him on the HBO if you ever feeling the time.
So, funny thing, we brought up, dead people's signature. There was a gal that had a question about Elvis. So apparently her grandmother and Elvis used to run around together.
Sure they did.
Well, she had a Polaroid picture of
Not
him.
according to Priscilla. Oh, a Polaroid, huh?
She had a Polaroid picture
Pictures
of
there
him.
didn't happen. I guess that was even true back then.
She had some writing on the back, but it was a unique photo because it allegedly had a picture of Elvis smoking one of those funny cigarettes.
Are you telling me that he wasn't from a Stokey?
I'm just telling you. So she had done some interesting things. She made sure as she shared this item, she wrote on the picture so she didn't just share it on the internet. She wrote on the
So they couldn't steal it from her.
correct. Which
Smart. Smart.
Like, that's very intelligent.
Where was she selling this, on eBay?
She was trying to find out what she should do with it because she didn't know what she should do with it.
Ooh, I'd put that eBay rare Elvis. That's better than Jerry Slum Jockstrap, my friend.
Well, it took me down a rabbit hole because somebody on the feed posted, you should look into this auction agency.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was called FA or HA. Apparently, I spent way too long looking on this auction agency, looking at rare wrestling cards because that's the rabbit hole.
Oh, man. You're trying to snake me in my own game.
No, I'm trying to show you bolos. Like, I'm trying to integrate what.
Is it like an online auction, or is it like one of these auction houses where you have to go and sit
No,
and
it's
bid?
an online auction.
Huh.
It's like the largest one ever.
Oh, is it Pristine Auction?
No, it's,
Yes,
it's
I bought that from them.
called like HA. And they sell everything, not just cards, but they have like literally everything.
The problem with those is they take pretty good commission. So if you're selling an Elvis picture for her,
Yeah.
I mean, look into it, but you're probably going to have to publish the picture for people to see it, and you don't want to get that getting stolen. I understand that. But even that Polaroid of Elvis with your grandma, how much is that worth?
Well, she was willing to sell it, so.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She
How much
was.
does she want for it?
I don't know.
That might be worth. Okay, so after this show, Adam, I know we got some things that we're trying to figure out. If I could get a picture of Elvis, a Polaroid, authentic Elvis, though, that's the thing. It'd have to be authenticated that it's actually him. Because there was a lot of lookalikes and stuff. But a picture of Elvis smoking a joint would be worth some money right
I said
now.
a funny cigarette.
I said a marijuana. Well, Elvis was in the army
Elvis overdosed.
on the toilet.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. A lot of people say he's still with us. He'd aged out by now. This is Hot Elvis Talk Podcast. Well, Adam strolls on the phone because I told my funny Andre the Giant story.
Well, it's just, again, it's one of those interesting things, as I kind of talked about a little bit here, is we're all going to die. And we all have interesting stuff that you have no idea. Like, do you really knew that your grandma was hanging out with Polaroid with Elvis?
Okay, we're going to go through this before I post this up. So here's my idea. You get the picture, but then you license it, so you own the copyright. Then you can sell that picture of Elvis. Who cares if it's with grandma or not? Crop her out. It's an authentic picture of Elvis. Then you can sell the rights to that to people that make T-shirts and hats and stuff. And it's a picture of Elvis smoking. Adam says a funny cigarette. I say a marijuana cigarette. Either way, that's not. I'd have to Google image search, but I don't think there's a lot of those, if any, out there. And then you own the rights, so everyone that gets made, you get 3 cents from. That's where I was going.
Okay, well, we'll get the information, and you can message and find out how it's
Yeah.
going.
Well,
So here's my question. Like, this again brings up a great topic. You find an item, you find somebody who has an item, what do you offer her?
See, so
No, I'm gonna get
101 to negotiation, right?
Right.
Here's negotiation 101 that everyone says is you never throw out the first offer, right? Because per se, the woman will take $10 for it, and you're like, hey, would you take $100 for it? Sure, here you go, but you just cost yourself $90.
Well, I don't know what it is, Derek. I don't know what this is. I've had some people tell me. I don't know what it is. What would you pay for this picture of Elvis?
Well, I can see online here some pictures of Elvis. I mean, this is a Polaroid. You know, I'm a barter.
Give me a number.
So I'd say, I don't know what ballpark you're in or whatever, but I feel comfortable right now with $25. Are we even going to be able to keep talking right now?
I'll offer 35. Thank you for that information.
And then she goes back and says, "Whoa, this is Elvis. I was thinking 1,000." And then you're like, "Okay, realistically, this is where I'm at. If you're at 1,000, I can't come close to it. It's an Elvis Polaroid." And then maybe you go up to whatever in your mind you've already made up your max, whatever that is.
I'm offended for her that you offered her $25.
You gotta go low,
I'm
man.
offended.
Well, too bad.
Don't tell her that you're a part of the DeathPiles and Taxes show.
Too bad. No, our people aren't gonna go out there and get ripped off. You gotta barter, man. Yeah. So in my head, I know what I'll pay for it, right? The Jerry Sloan stuff. In my head, I knew what I was gonna pay for Jerry Sloan's duffel bag. But I didn't go in there and say, "Hey, can I buy this for $500? I bid $3, $4, and if no one else bid, I got it for $4. If I go to a yard sale and I see an item, and I say that item goes for $100, I don't go up there and say, "Hey, will you take 40 for this?" I say, I got a tenner.
Yeah, but you gotta I don't know. That just seems to me like you're not even in the ballpark.
You never know, though. So
Yeah,
maybe you're not in the ballpark, and they'll say, "No, you're not even in the ballpark." And you're like, "Okay, seriously, you wouldn't throw out an offer?" Where, yeah, I do this with wrestling shirt lots all the time.
Hey, you're the
And they say, "I don't know." It's the same thing. I don't know. I haven't watched it for a while. I don't know. These are old. I see some go online for whatever, and I'll say, "Okay, I'll give you $20 for all of them." They say, "Well, no, I was thinking more like 100." And you're like, "Okay, is that a firm deal at 100, or will you go down to 50? Or what?" And then they say, "Well, I'll sell all but this one." And I say, "Okay, take my money. $100 it is. Or you get it for 50, or you get it for 20. I mean, it's all a game, man.
It's a dance, and
If you're going to be offended, don't be selling online, retail, Facebook sites. I mean, don't be selling. I mean, a lot of people get offended on eBay too with your make offer. If you're gonna get offended, you can set a minimum decline that you won't even get bothered.
You're right. You just threw out my millennialness, and I got offended too easy. I get it.
I mean,
okay, boomer, I get it.
Well, what do you want? You just want somebody to come up here and say, "I tell you what I'll do. What you want $100? Can I give you $150? You look like a nice, honest man." I mean, we're here to make money.
I get it. You're a smart man. No wonder you're so good at this.
I mean, if you got something rare, I could see her saying, "No, I'm thinking thousands of dollars."
Yeah, and then at
that point, you might have burned a bridge.
But
I'm not going to pay thousands of dollars for an Elvis Polaroid.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay more than, realistically, depending on licensing and all that, I probably still wouldn't pay more than $100, and that's pretty pushing it, because at the end of the day, it's a Polaroid picture. You don't have the negatives. Who knows if you can get the rights for all this stuff, and who knows what you can do with it, really.
Polaroids have a negative?
They don't.
Well, that's why I was asking.
Nope. That was the Insta-camera kind of thing back in the day, before we had all this technology. So
that took me down a rabbit hole.
I know, we get down these rabbit holes. And let me say this with you, because I have a story to share, actually. Because this is a podcast and I collect stories throughout the week to share with you.
Collect stories.
And with the people listening, all of you that are still here, I appreciate it. So, I think you were with me. So this guy sends me a message. Where were we? It must have been on the eBay or something like that. The guy sends me a message that says, "Hey man, I don't get paid till Friday," or something like this. I think I talked about this. Will you take, if I pay you on Friday, will you save this card for me? It was a Michael Jordan card from the All-Star game, which I got from the Jerry Sloan lot that I had graded, so on and so forth. And it was kind of a rare card, but not super rare, right? And it was graded as a 7. So I said, "You bet, buddy." But I didn't put it aside because no one has bought it in a few months, and it's first come, first serve, so I just figure whatever. So the next day it sells, but it sells for $30, and I'm asking $80 for it. So I think something's went wrong in my offers, and this guy just got a heck of a deal, right? Because he even said, well, would you be negotiable or whatever? Because, you know, times are tough or whatever. I'm like, no, it's pretty much that's what it is. So I'm like, oh man, this guy just got the deal of the century. Then I look up, it's not the guy that I told I'd save it for.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, oh no, not only did that happen, this guy's gonna be mad because I sold the card out from under him, and I just lost, you know, 40, 50 bucks, whatever 80 subtract 30 is. I'm not doing math right now real fast. I can do Andre the Giant facts all the time, but yeah, 50 bucks. So I'm like, not only that, I lost 50 bucks. So then this guy messages me and says, oh, I didn't notice the corner. And I mean, it's great. It says everything there. I didn't notice the corner has a little, you know, little glitch to it, whatever. I don't want this card anymore. Can I return it? Can I get the refund? Sorry, before you ship it. So before he does that, I messaged the other dude. I'm like, hey, buddy, I just pulled this off for you. So if you want it, I'll put it back up. But, like, I didn't know that you were serious because I have another guy wanting to buy this card. So if you're in, that's cool. But if not, I got another buyer. So he's like, oh, yeah, first thing Friday at 7 a.m. Jersey time, I'm buying this card from you. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So then I contact the other guy. Yeah, no problem. Sorry, man. Here. Thanks for letting me know before I ship it out to you. Resell it. Guy buys it for $80. So big $50 swing in just a couple of days. So if you do tell somebody you're going to save something for them, I just didn't figure it was going to sell. I didn't worry too much about it. Then I thought the guy just got it for a good deal and kind of worked me over better than I knew. That I didn't set my auto accept and decline parameters appropriately from what I thought. Long story short, happy guy, but it was about one of those cases where I was going to have him driving here from Jersey, not too happy with me. So a lot of people don't like that when things get canceled on you, or when buyers, you know, are going to buy something from you and then they change it. Just resell it. You might make $50 more off the same item. Don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen.
Versus having to argue some guy about some sort of a feedback or a good deal or this, that, and the other. So that was just kind of a fun little thing I sold the other day. Adam, tell me when you're ready to be derailed, because man, I'm feeling it.
You're feeling it, huh?
I'm feeling it.
I'm just going down my checklist.
What you got? I can see you got something on your mind.
I talked about Willy Wonka. I'm telling you, that one just blew me away.
I still haven't got the question from Willy Wonka. Was it why was this grown man licking the wall? Have you ever seen that?
Oh yes.
There's Grandpa Joe just licking the wall because, you know, why not?
Yeah.
One of our most downloaded shows is Grandpa Joe's a Scumbag, and it's like always in our top.
It always.
So I don't know if that's from Willy Wonka fans or people that hate him like me, or if it just catches your eye. So if you're out there listening, can you please let me know at DRoy Everett on the Twitter or Instagram or on our Facebook DeathPiles and Taxes group why you like that episode so much. What did we do right there?
I think we're almost officially there at the 1 year mark.
We're coasting in.
We're coasting.
We got fumes. We need to refuel.
We do need to refuel. But like, if you could sit back and think, like, we've made this a weekly thing. Like, we have not missed 1 week. We've done extras. We've done 55 plus how many episodes? You know, everyone is well over an hour. I get it. It's a different kind of podcast. You want to listen. I enjoy listening.
I enjoy hearing my own tones.
And when we're, 40, 50 years from now, when we're both old, sitting on the rockers, walking into the thrift store saying, "Can I buy that for 50 cents?" We can listen to
In my day, a Hershey's Good Bar was 25 cents.
That's right. We can go into our thrift stores knowing that we've done some evergreen episodes.
And here's the thing, too, is we say this a lot, and I heard it on another podcast this week, so I'm like, okay, it's not just us. I get that our people that are listening to this are like us. They're out there, trying to flip things. I don't care if you want to call it hustling, or if you call yourself a reseller, or just an eBay seller, or whatever. And I get that there's those days that you're at the thrift store, you don't want to be there. It's cold outside, and you don't want to get bored to death. You're listening to us, hopefully, and you got a smile on your face as you're scanning, or you're going through things and you're thinking, those idiots, Derek's rubbing himself down with copper tubing. I don't know what's wrong. Why do I even like these guys who listen to this? Or you're Brian, our faithful listener, and you're like, why do I listen to this guy? Can't even get my name right. He's making fun of me. They can't even get my band, the best band in the world. They keep calling it the YouTube, like the internet search video thing. that if you go and we get 100 subscribers, you're going to get a bonus episode on. So well, we appreciate it, but I just think, or we're sitting there shotgun as you're going to I mean, some places have yard sales year round, right? So you're like, I just want to zone out and do my thing, and these guys get it. So hopefully we're just there sitting shotgun with you, and it's just kind of like we're hanging out. And we're talking a little business,
and thank you for, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, like when you sit and look at the numbers and realize, like, we're sitting in a little place and we're recording something and there's people all over the world that listen to it.
I do want to say this before we hit our year mark. We got some big things coming up. We put up the poll that we've been talking about what the sellers' names are. So if you got any idea of what you want to be called, let us know sooner than later, or else you're gonna miss the poll. If you know anyone in South or North Dakota, first off, punch them in the nose and say you're an idiot. Those are two of the states we don't have any listeners in, and Alaska. And there was one more, like New Hampshire, New Hampshire or Vermont, one of those two.
Why don't you take a Betty Bernie to see if you can download it?
He's busy.
Okay.
All right? He's busy and he's old. Have you ever tried to get an old person to watch it and listen to a podcast, Adam?
You have to do it for him.
And if you do it for Bernie, he does. Have you not listened? You got to do things for Bernie. You do it for him, he'll listen.
Sorry.
Probably be our best listener ever.
I didn't want to.
And he'd probably fill the burn and he'd pass it on to all these young kids, and we'd probably get a lot more listeners. So if you're in any of those states or have friends or family, or if you're just driving through to see, Mount Rushmore, or
you're in Vermont and you got a weekend at Bernie's, just help us out.
You're up there in Minot, doing the oil boom. Just download us so we can get 50 in our first year. We got multiple countries and we got lots in other states, but for whatever reason, we don't have listeners in those places.
I don't know why.
I don't know after listening to this podcast why we don't have listeners in North Dakota.
Okay, where are you going to derail me, buddy?
Okay, this is also seller related. So a lot of my things this week are seller buyer related, which is, for me, that's a step in the right direction. So I'm on the Mercari app. And a lot of the times I'm buying things off Mercari to flip on eBay, which we've talked about a little bit before, and we've been on this big card buying kick forever. So one of the things I've done is I became a guy that goes through boxes of cards and takes out the good ones, puts the cards I'm not interested back into the box, and sell them as an open box.
Allegedly.
No, I do, and I say on there, hey, this is an open box. I'm selling it for a third or half price of what a full box would have cost you because I took out the good cards. In my opinion, what were the good cards?
In other words, hey, I paid $10 for this open. Now it has nothing in it. If you give me $3, I'll have a smile on my face.
It's like, hey, I can give these to Adam's kids, which I don't mind doing, but at some point he's going to say, stop sending them to me. Or,
never.
I'm thinking, if I could sell this for half of what I bought it, I don't know everything. I very well could have missed some good things. Like, I'm just taking out what I'm interested in, and I'll take pictures. It's an open box. It's clearly marked open box. I bought it for, let's say that model. If I bought it for 10, I'm selling it for 5, right? So it's 50% off. You're still getting a killer deal, and as a treasure hunt. And as a bonus, I'm throwing in other cards too. I'm filling the box up. So I take pictures, and in my description, I say that. I'm like, hey, it's an open box. I don't know a whole lot, everything about cards. There might be some good stuff in here. I'm also putting in cards from other packs. I'm just filling it to the brim because I don't have space to store all this, basically. And I don't. That's all the truth. And so people will message me and say, hey, you got any this, that, or the other in there? I say, you know what? I'm not looking through it to tell you if I got, Kobe Bryant's rookie card. Probably not in there because it's, 2017, not 1998 or whenever Kobe came out. But it might be in there. I don't know. Or, hey, you got, this card or that card. I said, you just got to buy the thing. So the second that you start getting people on Mercari sending you messages or liking your image, because you can like images, Mercari says, hey, people are interested in this. Why don't you lower the price? Hey, people are interested in this. Give them a discount.
Yeah, I don't like that.
My thing is, hey, if people are interested, and the price should go up so they buy it when it's cheaper and say, oh, no, the price is going up. I better buy it. I'm interested. And also, sorry, I got to breathe here.
You're up in the high range. Calm down.
Calm down. Zen.
Easy.
The other thing is, hey, I'm getting this for half off. It's pictures of an open box. It's a crapshoot. Don't ask me if there's specific. I'm not going to take the time to go and look and see if there's specific cards in there. And if there are, because you asked me about it, I'm going to keep them now.
Older than that. Hey, do you have Luka Doncic's rookie card.
This is how I got into reselling wrestling cards, because I was selling those games that I had forever. And there was that Rocky Maivia
I
card.
remember saying that.
And the guy was asking me, is the Rocky Maivia card there? Well, I looked it up, and it was worth a few $100s. So guess what? It wasn't there. So it's the same with these. If you say, hey, you got a Donovan Mitchell rookie, or Luka Donka or whatever in there, if I didn't know about it, I surely do now, and I'm going to look it up because I'm selling things online, and it's gone. So if you're a treasure hunter that can get something for 50% off, you're taking a gamble. You go through the cards. Maybe there's good things that I missed. Maybe there's not, but that's why you're getting it for half off. Don't be messaging the person and giving them a heads up on, hey, you might want to sell this for more if it's got this in it, or will you go look for all these things for me? Because so between that and Mercari saying, hey, people are interested. Hey, Burger King, you got a line around the building for Impossible Whoppers. Why don't you charge them, 20% off? Because you got a line around the building with buyers. You should charge them more. Supply and demand. It's not that you lower the price when demand goes high. That's my derail. There you have it, Adam.
Man, you're a smart guy.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, allegedly. Well,
Until next time.
I just want to say one thing, so we're getting into the weeds here. But one of our amazing sponsors, Lunatics, they just sent out a nice little tweet, like nice little message. So if you don't know what Lunatics is, it's basically you can reserve your seats to certain events before it happens, and you get it at a much lower price. Lunatic just came out, and they had a gentleman that lived, Richard P. He apparently lives in Naples, Florida, which is right next to Miami, in the same vicinity. He reserved some tickets for the Super Bowl. He paid $336. And
Wow.
I'm just checking out the old StubHub, seeing what I can find, and obviously they get more expensive the closer you get. But the worst seats on StubHub are $4,000 a piece.
So if you decide to use our friends over at Lunatics, remember to use promo code DeathPiles, and you'll get 10% off.
That's right.
That incredible. What does it say? What team he was rooting for?
Yeah, 49ers.
Oh, there you go.
So he was banking on his team getting to the Super Bowl. So he paid $300.
And or the 49ers. Now he's selling it for $1,000 profit.
Well, it was $4,000.
Oh, excuse me.
I didn't say 1,000. I said add a.
I thought you said 1,300.
$4,000.
I'm obviously not listening.
Thank you.
What else is new?
So yeah, so Lunatics. It's one of those same things. You can reserve seats and get them at a much lower price. If your team gets there, you do. If you don't, you don't. There you go.
So I got something about your Gary V cards before we go, because I said this and just remembered it because I saw them here. You could do what I'm doing and just sell them for a discounted rate, take that money, prolong it into a new box.
Yeah, but then I lose the cards.
But you're buying a new box, so
That's
you paid,
true.
I don't know what you paid for them.
The problem is now that they've kind of saturated, you got to hit it while it's hot, and there's a lot out there, so they're not as rare as what they were before.
You put them on Mercari, and some guy's going to ask you, you got this card in it. And you say, listen to DeathPiles and Taxes. Well, Derek goes off about that.
Yeah.
And then he buys them from you because you keep lowering your price because Mercari tells you to. And then you take what was going to be $50 and you sell it for $20, and you go ahead and you put that $20 towards the next box.
Okay. Well, that's a great idea.
That's why they call me what they call me.
The king of wrestling on eBay.
That's a pretty good mantra, really. I should put that on a business card.
You have it on your tweeter thing, didn't you? Or you changed it something? I don't know what you have on there.
Well, if you want to know what I have on my Twitter thing, go over to @DeRoy Everett and follow me. Huh?
All I know is what your LinkedIn profile says, co-host, co-owner of, what's that show called again?
DeathPiles and Taxes. Congratulations on the new career, Derek.
The two certain things that will always happen in
man.
your life.
I don't know if we brought it this week or not, but it was definitely a show.
It was good. What do you mean brought it?
I'm just not feeling it. I don't know if we were to the level of where we have been.
We came with some high energy.
I think we had good information.
We always have good information.
I think we brought. I don't know. I'm just. Next week, I'm going to throw this out. I'm coming harder, stronger, and better than ever.
Well, that's all a guy can ask for. Because there's two things that are certain.
DeathPiles
And taxes.
Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, here comes the.
Welcome to hashtag.
Husky section.
So we're still here with Mike Painter.
It's good to be here.
You're becoming a regular on the show now. We've stopped being derailed, I think, or maybe
When
I'm
am I
still
going to get
derailed.
that walk-up music?
You got it. I mean, here comes the boom.
Yeah, here comes the boom. It's a great movie with Fonz too. You know,
The Fonz?
the Fonz is in that.
I've never seen the movie.
Oh, yeah, and then the guy off Mike and Molly. Was it Mike and Molly? No, Kevin. What's his name? The
The big
Yeah.
the mall cop, Paul Blart.
Paul Blart.
Yeah.
It's got Paul Blart and the Fonz in it. He's a fighter.
Fun fact, since you're a wrestling fan like I am, did
I
you know
am.
that Mick Foley and Kevin James were on the same high school wrestling team,
I did not.
and that Kevin James was varsity over Mick Foley?
That makes sense.
Fun fact.
Kevin James, big man.
And apparently good not collegiate, what would you call that?
Yeah, collegiate.
Collegiate wrestler,
Yeah,
but
collegiate
high school wrestler,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Amateur wrestler.
Amateur.
And so there's a fun fact for everyone that's playing some barroom trivia that will
There you
never
go.
come up ever. But so last time we talked, and I don't know if it's been put out or not because I don't know how I'm editing these out. I'll be honest. Full disclosure. Weeks ago. Last week on a very special DeathPiles and Taxes.
Christmas edition.
So you got some connection with China.
Sure.
You were over in Hong Kong, and it's we won't get into what's going on now with Hong Kong.
No, we won't.
But as far as people looking to import, sell, do all that kind of stuff, I know you haven't done a whole lot, if any of that. I don't know if you have or not.
No, I haven't personally, but I do. You know, I have worked with folks in China before.
As far as negotiating and the Chinese culture and stuff, what's some things that maybe people should know about when they try to reach out and do deals with? Because people in China are obviously different than people in America.
Yeah.
What are some tips or some things that might help people out with that? Trying to reach that across the aisle there.
Yeah, and say, you know, one of the big things, I mean, if you can meet face to face, that's a big deal. Be very respectful. I mean, that's everybody wants to be respected. You know, don't talk down to anybody. You know, just because you have a language barrier, things like that. You know, reach out. Gosh, I'm trying to think. You know, there's so much out there that, you know. Do you guys have any questions in particular about, you know, when you're talking with
See,
China?
it's not that easy to run a podcast
No,
for
it's
2
not.
hours,
It's
isn't it?
cool.
Yeah,
That's a long, you know, I
People-
respect you guys a little.
People don't know,
Yeah. It reminds me that, no, I'm just kidding.
So have you had any luck buying bulk items in China?
No, I haven't done that yet.
So I'm going to pull back the curtain. I have. Ran a company for a little while. We sold sunglasses that had Bluetooth speakers in them. Had one of my partners. He is in the swag business, and you know, really cool, unique product.
Yeah.
And he has a contact in China specifically, and they're able to work through her. And we were buying these in bulk, and we brought them over here, and we put our logo on them, and we're able to sell them and make some pretty good money on it. So it was definitely interesting, but I don't think it would have been one of the things that I would be able to do by myself if I didn't have that contact. And I think that's kind of what you're saying is.
Yeah.
Because-
I mean, you really do need the contacts. Like when I have sourced things for not for individual sale, but for the companies I work for and things like that, we do. You know, we'll work through a main guy, a middle guy. He's the one that's facilitating. He's the one that's going over to the factories. He's the one that's visiting with the people in China. You know, I've got some really good friends that have had companies, manufacturing facilities in Shanghai and Beijing and places like that, but they're always constantly going over and visiting the facilities. And you really do need that middle guy, somebody that understands, and then they can apply for all your export and import permits, things like that.
Yeah, that's one thing that you don't realize a lot of. So that's one aspect of it. But how much do you think you actually be able to speak the language helps you? Like, do you feel
A lot.
like you actually are not being taken advantage of?
Yeah, it's a funny story. It's actually when I
Good, I've been waiting for a
yeah,
funny
here we
story.
go.
Funniest guy I know, funny stories.
Here we go. So I was actually at the Great Wall of China with my family. We were there in Beijing. Well, it was actually in Beijing. And there were some North Face jackets, and they were the real deal. I don't know how they come out of the factory. I'm guessing by
Fell off the truck.
Somehow, they fell off the truck, fell off the Apple truck. Anyway, I didn't let them know that the folks that were working at this stand that I spoke Chinese, and I started talking to them in English, and was trying to negotiate some deals because I mean they love to barter. I love to barter. It's a match made in heaven, get visit back and forth, and they basically in Chinese they were speaking amongst themselves, saying that hey, we're gonna take advantage of this guy. Because there was me and my family. There was like 6 of us. And we all wanted to buy coats and jackets. And
They saw you coming.
they saw us coming. We were tourists. We were a bunch of tourists, big tourist family at the Great Wall of China, looking to buy coats because it was colder than we thought it was going to be, you know. And so anyway, they started talking amongst themselves what they were going to charge me. And came back and said, and so I started speaking. I responded back to them in English that, hey, I this is not the price I want to pay. And they kind of talked back and forth like, nah, you're going to pay this price. And so they come back and was trying to speak English to me, and I spoke back to them in Chinese. And at that point, you know, things clicked, and then they lost face, which is a big deal. You know, you don't want to lose face. No one wants to be embarrassed, you know, no matter where you're at. And turns out we end up getting a pretty nice deal on a lot of jackets out of that. but it was funny because they laughed about it, and they thought it was funny that, you know, I was, you know, negotiating that way and that I spoke Chinese. And but you know, in previous lives and previous jobs, I spoke Chinese for my job. I did translation and things like that, and it was great. You know, I mean, you put yourself out there and learn something about somebody else's culture, and it goes a long ways. And
it's always that you play coy. You just kind of you've got the bargaining chip in a lot of those situations, which kind of getting into that secondary language. Some of the things it reminded me of something. Have you boys ever seen Mexican jumping beans?
Of course, I've seen Mexican jumping beans, right?
My wife had never heard of them.
Uh-huh.
When we were kids, we'd go to Tijuana and you get Mexican jumping beans. We were in Seattle about a month ago, and sure enough, walk in selling Mexican jumping beans. Had to buy them.
Of course.
Had to buy them. So that's my interlingual know something about other faith Mexican jumping beans.
Now, did the beans make it home? Because I had Granny would go down to Mexico, and she'd always buy me Mexican jumping beans. But when she came back a week or two later, sometimes they didn't make it. So did they make it back from Seattle to your kids?
So they had them wrapped in like the nice plastic case, and they sold them about 8 because they knew some of them would die. They made it home. So they made it home. Their amount of jump went down, but you put them in the middle. You put them in like the bullseye thing, and you see which one's raced off, and they would get off the paper. So they were not necessarily their vertical had gone down, but they were getting off the paper.
I mean, that happens to all of us with age. Let's be honest with that. So, well, that's good. I mean, good negotiation skills. And as far as that goes, when you were over in Hong Kong, what are some of the things that you were able to purchase? I mean, just personally that you've been able to negotiate, or you know, that's a big bartering city, and I know people listening to us love to barter. Me and Adam love to barter. So
yeah, for sure, I'd say Hong Kong's known for a lot of things. It's really a business capital of China. You know, it's one of the main places. You know, along with Beijing and Shanghai and those areas. And I was actually able to negotiate on a lot of jade. I bought jade for my mom, things like that. We'd purchase some of that.
What did you say? You bought jade?
Jade. So you know the
I have no idea what that is.
precious stone jade.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. It's not a person. It wasn't
You said you're coming back from China. I don't know what kind of things you're buying.
Yeah. So I mean, jade's really popular, especially in China. It's really popular.
It's a gem.
A gem.
it's a pretty green rock.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty green rock. You know, and they will carve into lots of different things, you know. But yeah, there's so many different things you can buy in China. You can buy, Nikes. You need to make sure they're real. You know, that is something, when you're over there, you do need
So that brings up a point. Do you know how you tell if they're real?
If you're in a reputable establishment, you know they're real. If you're buying them on the corner, they're likely not real. That's
the difference.
Yeah.
But I can get them a lot cheaper on the corner.
You can, and you know, and if you're not trying to resell them and go to war with Nike like Derek with Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and that's kind of what you can do.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Nikes, Rolexes, things like that. They really, you can purchase a lot of high-end things in Hong Kong because they are known for a lot of that there. You know, Rolls Royces, Bentleys, things like that. So it's a great area.
So you've had opportunity. You've been in the world of China. You've been in lots of other places. I know you've traveled frequently to Germany. We've talked about that in the past. Let's just bring it home. I mean, can you just say God bless the USA?
God bless the USA for sure. Like, I love traveling. It's a good time being out there, eating other foods, you know, hanging out with other cultures. But no matter how long I'm away, when I come back home, I want to kiss the ground, even if it's a dirty airport floor, because God bless the USA.
we live in a wonderful country, and let's, if we lived in China, we couldn't be doing this podcast. So hopefully, just in general, like I says, we got it really good here, and a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things. So, learn.
Yeah.
We're talking about selling baseball cards and Legos, and you just give yourself an opportunity to make money online, which that's kind of the whole idea of this is. And it's fun. It's not just about making money. It's about having fun. It's about enjoying what you do, the different experiences. Like I said, Mike had dabbled in it, and just within the last 3-4 months, we've gotten hot and heavy.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty crazy the last few months.
It's gotten hot and heavy, and he's gotten addicted.
Getting serious.
It's getting serious. We're getting serious, you could say.
And I think hearing about 30 days, you're going to start having to look at some taxes, because
That's going to be crazy.
you're going to have 1099s coming in.
I got a shoebox full of receipts. Is that helpful?
Oh, good hell. I'll send you the worksheet. I'll make you add it up yourself,
Can
and
I
we'll
do
take
this all
care
on
of it.
TurboTax?
Oh, heavens. If you want to pay more than you should. So, Mike, you're full of a wealth of knowledge. We appreciate you
something.
coming in. You've given us some good nuggets. Like it says, we're going to play the best of Mike here in the next couple episodes.
Going away episode.
And why don't you think of a couple more funny things when you can come in and share?
Yeah. Maybe next year's Halloween episode. Come back in and share some stories.
That'd be good. Yeah, you were saying that.